Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is July 2nd, 2021. This is episode 349. Today's comic, Barbaric. This is out by Vault Comics. It's the #1 issue, and it comes in at a whopping $3.99. On the cover here, we've got our Barbarian, Owen. It's kind of funny. But what really caught my eye was his axe that he has. It's this really cool looking axe, and it's actually been enchanted by this spirit, and it's a bloodthirsty spirit. It gets a little blurb up here on the cover by Scott Snyder. That's just a nice thing to do. Thanks, Scott. And this is going to be a recommend, by the way. All right, on the back here, we get a little blurb. I'll just go over the blurb. Maybe this will kind of help explain the story when we're going through it. Owen the Barbarian has been cursed to do good with what remains of his life. His bloodthirsty weapon, axe, has become his moral compass with a drinking problem. And what he drinks is blood. Okay, sorry. Together they wander the realm, foredoomed to help any who seek assistance. But there is one thing Owen hates more than a life with rules: witches. Welcome to the skull-cracking, blood-splattering, mayhem-loving comic brave enough to ask, how can a man sworn to be good do so much violence? It's just barbaric. Okay, so there you go. Let's take a look to see who worked on this. The writer is Michael Morrissey. I think I might be saying that correctly. The artist is Nathan Gooden. The colorist is Addison Duke. The letterer is Jim Campbell. And of course, it was published by Vault Comics. Just want to say, I really liked the art in here. I thought the writing was good as well. The colorist, I thought could have done a little bit different job. I'm not in love with that. It's just a little, it's just not that appealing to me. Not whether or not it's supposed to be, I don't know, but it just seems everything's kind of muted. All right, so what we got here is we find out right off the bat that Owen is somehow owned like a warrior slave by this preacher man or something. I'm not quite sure he is. He's wealthy. We know that much. And he has scheduled a fight with 3 people. And Owen says, I'm not going to fight anybody. That's not my deal. I can only fight if they've done something wrong. And then this guy explains to him what they have done wrong. Well, 2 of the 3, they've done pretty bad things, is what we find out, these 2 guys here. The other one was just stealing food to stay alive, and his axe is the one that brings down the sentence, and only Owen the Barbarian can hear the axe. So look how cool that looks. I think they did a really nice job on that. So right off the bat, Owen goes in and attacks the 2 guys. The 2 guys are mad that the 3rd guy got off, and he has this very bloody battle here. See, I think if the coloring was done a little bit different, it would have been even more striking. This is kind of washes the blood out a little bit to me, even though there is a good deal of it. And so he apparently wins the day. His axe is now drunk with blood, and he goes back to his master, and it turns out this guy is kind of a scuzzy guy, and he chops him in half. You can kind of see him splitting there. So, and off he goes, a free man, so to speak. And he talks about his former life, how it was simple. He just had drinking, lovemaking, and fighting things, and repeat and rinse, basically. Then he was on a ship, and he was ambushed by 3 people. His friend Zum is killed. We don't get to know too much about Zum. Maybe in future issues they will revisit him, but he seems to be kind of like a aquatic type creature, humanoid. So we got these three guys here, and they're saying, well, we're not your allies. We're actually witches. They turn into witches. And before the barbarian, Owen, can do anything, they get hold of him. They get him tied up in these tentacles and everything and dip him over the bow of the ship into this swirling mass. And they tell him that basically they will spare his life if he takes on this curse. And the curse is, if anybody that asks him for help, he must help them if they are good of heart. And if the axe tells him to kill somebody because the axe actually knows if they would have done evil, I'm assuming it does, he has to kill them. So he agrees to it, and they just say that it's a bigger, they show him hell. He goes, well, otherwise, if you don't agree, we're going to drop you into hell. And so there's a little bit of humor in here too, but that's a pretty cool drawing there. I really like that with the ship there and everything. So he does agree, and this is when his axe becomes enchanted. And so now he can't have a life of fun, and now he must do good for the rest of his life. And they just basically tell him the reason we're doing this is because you're going to play a part in a bigger plan. So we don't find out what that is in this issue, but hopefully soon we will. So he is at a bar just drinking now. This is after he has set himself free. And suddenly there's a witch in town that's going to be killed, and he stands up and he says, how dare you try to kill this? This witch has done nothing wrong, and because he can tell his axe speaks to him. And he actually pops one of the guys that's trying to kill her. I believe he does. Maybe they just argue. No, it looks like he grabs him by the gonads there. And suddenly these creatures start coming up from the earth, and this is what the witch was trying to warn them about. And the witch is actually a good witch, and she and Owen the Barbarian take on all these sudden ghouls that have sprouted, and they're hacking and slashing through them. It's pretty great, you know. She's summoning weapons and using them at will. And it turns out that she can hear what the axe is saying as well. And the axe is overjoyed. He's like, good, I don't have to talk to this knucklehead. I can talk to someone else as well. So there is some language in here as well. And then they are off to fight this next demon snake that's way up there on the hillside. That's where we ended the comic. So it was good fun. It was interesting. It took a different perspective on it. I'm actually writing a comic in which the weapon is the narrator. It doesn't speak to the person wielding it, but is the narrator. So it's kind of funny that they have a weapon talking to the barbarian here. So we have this other one here. This is what else Vault is putting out. It's called Bleed Them Dry. I believe it's a trade paperback. Looks like it might be even a hardback. It's a ninja vampire tale. And Comic Watch says, we'll keep you coming back for more. Okay, it doesn't say who worked on it, but and I can't read that. I'm sorry, it's very small and kind of blurred. Then we have Volume 1 of Vampire the Masquerade, which I do review on this channel. I think we're up to issue 9 now, perhaps. And we get the cover for the next issue of Barbaric. Or I believe this is going to be some of the next issue. Maybe it's the interior art, which I'll be getting. I really like this. I thought it was pretty good. So there you have it. This is a recommend. This is going to get the Indie Comics Jones good excavating seal of approval, given out only by Indie Comics Jones on this channel. So thanks for stopping by and listening to this review. I have more reviews to come this week. As always, please like, please subscribe, please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. This is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.